these sources, the stuff they write. So you can't run around. Akiem said this. No, it's not what Akiem said. It's what they say. Okay? Just remember that when y'all quote me, Akiem showed me that they said it. Okay? All right? A lot of people, do y'all notice that a lot of people that teach, they'll be talking and tell you what something is, but never show you where they got it from? Right? So, and a lot of that stuff happened now. Let's talk about this. A little side note. George Floyd, right? White cop killed him, supposedly. But y'all know the autopsy results came out, right? The real one. He wasn't killed by strangulation. No. He did no asphyxiation. He had enough fentanyl in it to kill his whole room. So what you saw was a man just leaning on a man who was, I'm not saying that the cop didn't do something wrong, because he did do some stuff wrong, but that's not what killed him. Because there's a lawsuit out there now that case came up, and they showed the official autopsy results. See, but your perception came from what? The media painted this picture that 9 minutes, this is what happened. And they said not, wasn't it? It was 9 minutes, right?
Yeah, 9 minutes and like 40 something seconds.
Right. Isn't it a coincidence they use the number 9? When everything you do is in 9, your socials are 9 digits, EINs are 9 digits. Takes 9 months for a woman to have a baby, or, if she's healthy and it goes to its term. So everything is a theater to get you to see things a certain way, to keep you walking down that path, just like they do with cattle when they walking them off to slaughter. They go through a narrow path, and they lure them with food all the way. That's exactly what's happening to us. That's how they are presenting information. How do they start you off with the information? They did a study of children to see what makes some children geniuses and some not. And they found something surprising. They said between the age 0 and 6, almost over 90% of children exhibited genius behavior. All of the children they studied. Then they went back and studied them after they dealt with the whole school system, and they were down to 20% after doing public education. Y'all think that's by coincidence? The educational system is a perfect working machine. It's just not good for you, but it's good for the system. And that's what it was. They had a meeting about this. They wanted to figure out, how can we get a generation of people to be dumb and work for us forever and make their kids do it. They had a meeting. They went to the Horace Mann, who is the father of public education, went to Prussia, which we call Germany now, and tried to figure out how did Hitler get these young people to go through do all of these things. It's through indoctrination and propaganda. All of these new age or new, I don't even know if they're new or how, whatever you want to call it. Everybody want to identify as something other than what they was born to be. How did they do that? It was in the educational system. They were teaching this stuff to the kids through the material, and you didn't even know they were teaching your kids that. Because we too busy working, because that's what we're being responsible adults and not paying attention to what our kids were getting in these schools. Now it's so far gone, it's no turning back. You see? But we're going to talk about an identity that you need to have in order to protect your assets, in order to protect yourself from the mechanism they have in place to trap you into being a slave. The movie The Matrix is a biography of everybody's life in here. Okay, that's real. Exactly. Remember when he got Neo and he said one of the first things he said, Neo, are you a slave? And one of the first things he talked about is IRS paying taxes. Isn't that the bane of our existence? Man, taxes. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Taxes are not a bad thing if you know how to handle them. You see? So those are the sources. We're gonna go to those sources and look them up and talk about what I'm gonna talk about here. Okay, this is the discharge seminar. People ask, can you discharge student loans? Somebody answer that. Can you? Yes. Can you discharge mortgages? Can you discharge credit cards? And the next is the steps. You already answered all of that. I'm trying to be a little fancy. That's as good as it get right there. There ain't no more little ain't no more of that. So let's look at discharge. Now that is so small, I know I can't even read it. So I'm gonna have to how am I gonna read that and keep it up on the screen? Huh?
Let somebody read it.
Okay. Somebody come up here and read it.
Ain't you got the book?
Oh, you are absent. Man, Warren, you better keep him. You better keep him. I'm sitting up here. I got the book right here. How am I gonna read this and it's sitting right here? Oh. Huh? I can't see with them glasses on. Those are only for distance. So I can see if y'all can sleeping on me or not. So we're gonna look up the word discharge. Huh?
That looks finer than my Bible. I can't even see that.
The funny thing, I just
Huh?
Words.
Oh, you was afraid I was gonna let you read it?
I'm telling you.
He worried. I hope he ain't asking me to read this.
it's a trick. He's looking at the form 56.
Discharge. See, when we read this, y'all gonna see something very interesting about this.
What's the name of that book?
Oh, this is the Black's Law Dictionary, third edition. Somebody help me find discharge. Somebody who's sharp. I'm gonna use one of these young eyes right here. When you get it, let me know. Discharge. This is Black's Law Dictionary law of definition of discharge. I can read that from here.
Can you read the page number?
Huh? Page, oh yeah, 584. Genius again. I'm sitting here looking for the page number sitting on the screen. 584. I'm in the game. I'm there. I'm just. I'm saying that for myself. Yeah, you got it. All right. You don't have to read all that. Start right there.
Okay.
Nice and loud. Hey, come on up here and talk. You do a YouTube channel. He got a YouTube channel. Y'all should follow him. She got a YouTube channel. Y'all should follow her too. Huh? Read it nice and loud. Here. So you can speak in this mic. Yeah.
There is a distinction between a debt discharged and a debt paid. When discharged, the debt still exists through divested of its character as a legal obligation during the operation of a discharge. Something of the original vitality of the debt continues to exist, which may be transferred even though the transferee takes it subject to its disability incident.
Stop right there.
The
Stop.
discharge.
Hold your place. So what did this say about discharge? Discharge, even though the debt is discharged, the debt still exists, right? Isn't that kind of what happens when people are discharging? They still try to get for that money, right?
Yeah, because tax haven't been paid on.
Well,
He's saying the debt.
everything's a tax, but you on the right road, you close. So what it's saying is the debt still exists in some way, so it can be transferred, sold, whatever, right? But keep going.
The fact, oh, the mic.
Oh, sorry.
The fact that it carries something which may be consideration for the new promise to pay as to make An otherwise worthless promise is a legal obligation, which the subject of transfer by assignment. Stanek v. White, 72.
You don't have to read those.
Okay.
Those are just
Alright.
cases. Keep going.
Discharge by operation of law is where the discharge takes place, whether it was intended by the parties or not. Thus, if a creditor appoints his debtor or executor, the
Executor.
executor.
Read that again, because I want to
Okay.
hear that with some emphasis. Read it again.
Okay. Thus, if a creditor appoints his debtor, his executor, if the debt is discharged by operation of law, because the executor cannot have an action against himself.
Wow. Right. Did y'all hear that? I'm gonna read it again. Because I have to read it again so it can get in my brain, and then I can talk about it. But thank you. Good. All right. It says discharge by operation of law is where the discharge takes place, whether it was intended by the parties or not. Thus, if a creditor appoints his debtor his executor, the debt is discharged by operation of law because the executor cannot have an action against himself. Without me having to explain that, I'm going to explain it. Can somebody figure out what it just said? Go ahead.
You talking about the all caps and the proper.
Okay, what is the all cap name? What place does it hold?
It's the debtor.
Absolutely, right? So if you take and appoint that debtor, the executor, what happens? The debt goes away because it can't discharge against itself. That's exactly what that just said. Go ahead. Throw to the back. In layman term is they're new, so y'all still kind of catching up. A lot of people already know what I'm talking about, so I gotta kind of. Can you explain a little bit? Can you do it?
The creditor and the debtor.
Yeah.
So in that situation, and it's almost like it look at it like in a from an estate if someone passes away, right? So if the debtor appoints the creditor as the executor, which is you, right? Then you can't do what?
Can be held liable.
And the
Right.
debt goes away.
Right.
It's gonna be one and the same.
Right. Well, it's not one and the same. It's the position you holding, right? The all caps is always a debtor. Why? Where did it come from?
It was a creation.
It was a creation from the United States. They created that to be a debtor. That's all it can ever be, is a debtor. But you, the living person, is what? You don't have any debt when you come into this world, right? So you and that entity can't do anything without you.
That's right.
But see how they got you is give us your socials so we can put this on a W-4 form or a W-2 form. Give us your socials so you can get these lights on, so you can buy this car. They okay here. They're putting you in a position where you are administering the estate, but you're not in the right position. Guess which position you're in? Trustee position. Trustees in a lot of cases when you're dealing with the government, trustee is the worst position to be in because it's actually the owner, right? If I have a trust, like he said, irrevocable trust, right? We got a trust, and I give it up to him. He's the trustee. He and I in that trust, he gets to buy property. He can either put it in his name or in the trust name, but he's the one responsible. That they're gonna come and look for. Hey, what's going on here? Did you pay the taxes on the trust? Did you do the administration? And then they have laws for trustees if they don't do the right thing.
That's right. Go straight to you.
See, but when you create your trust, you ain't gonna have that problem. But when you execute their trust, the one they created, which is the straw man, you're gonna have that problem. Because their trust indenture has rules. What is the trust indenture for the straw man? What trusting did you? Where's that trust expressed for the straw man name? It's expressed in several ways. It's expressed everywhere. It's expressed in the penal code, the criminal code, and the IRS code. What is the first thing you get arrested they looking for? Let me get your name, social security number. Right. They have an expression of how you gonna get treated. Who here got a court case right now that they can show me that they can pull up? Just show me the caption. Just look at the caption. Show me. I want you to notice something about the captions. The caption is state versus you. That's the caption. That's what that means. He's pulling it up. While he doing that, it's written in a certain way. It's written to show you what estate is going against each other. Let's see. I ain't gonna pass this round, brother. See how here they have it up and lower, but let's see the documents. Can you see the documents?
You talking about
Like where I could actually see the filings.
I don't know. A lot of them closed. Right here.
Still,
Oh no, hold on, wait.
you need the actual filings. Like the paperwork they put in the case. Don't worry about it. They get the point. Whenever you look at a court case, it's always, let's just say the state is going after you for something. It'll say the state of such and such against you, but your name is always in all caps. So that means that's not you they're going after the estate. But you walk in there thinking that's you because the letters look the same as your name. But you're not paying attention to how it's styled. Styling is important to anything you do because you're thinking, oh, this is me and you out in the court. No, you don't know this, and they let you roll right in there and take that position, and then having you paying into the estate on behalf of for whatever they're saying you want. That's for traffic tickets, all of that stuff. All right, let's go. Let me see. See it? Yeah. See how it's all in all caps. See, but down there they got you up and lower. The child, see it? See how they switched it up? Yeah. So you don't know the difference.
Remember, I sent you that letter. How they
Yeah.
sent me, and they sent
Yeah.
you two.
Yeah. They sent him two letters. One was all caps, and then when they actually was talking to him, they put it in up and lower. You see? That's how those are the games they're playing. That's why I told y'all about to go down a rabbit hole. Y'all ready for this rabbit hole? All right, just slide seem off. Let me see. I was just charged. Okay.
I think you went.
Think
You went.
huh?
You went backwards versus forward.
Yeah, no, that next slide. I didn't know that was next. Then okay. In order to discharge, here's some requirements. These are Akiem, the Church of Infinite Abundance of requirements. You don't necessarily have to do it this way. I set it up this way for protection because I know what the Constitution says about religion. Your rights are unalienable rights when it comes to your religious faith. They can't question you, can't do nothing. Only time your religion gets questioned is when you fill out a what? When you set your church up as a what? A 501c3. Now it's no longer a church. It's no longer a temple. It's no longer a mosque. It's now considered by IRS definition a religious organization that has to answer them and file all of these reports and all that craziness. So scripture says, 1 Corinthians 7:21-24, were you a slave when you came that up? That thing ain't ring all day until I start talking, huh? When Were you a slave when you were called? Don't let it trouble you, although if you can gain your freedom, do so. That's what we're talking about right now. For the one who was a slave when called to faith in the Lord is the Lord's freed person. So how was we born into slavery? See, the movies got you thinking slavery is picking cotton, getting whipped by some trustee, um, you in chains. The movies, that's what they have you thinking real slavery is. But do y'all know that type of slavery was a very short period of time compared to how long man been on earth? Slavery has always been this: when you had to leave your home and go work for someone else. That was slave. That was considered being a slave. Y'all been reading the Bible all your life. They showed you that. The Israelites was able to go home to their house and do all it because they was complaining at Moses about, why are you messing with us, man? We was doing good. They loved us. They took care of us. They fed us. So they didn't feel like slaves. Why? Because they kept their culture. They was able to go home. They wasn't living in dilapidated conditions. How you know they wasn't living in dilapidated conditions? What happened when they left Egypt and they couldn't wait on Moses? What did they do? What did they build? They built a golden calf. So you talking about the broke slaves came out of Egypt and they built this calf together? That these were poor folks we talking about? No. They just like what we got here. You got some people living in the hood, some people living in middle class neighborhoods, some many people living in upscale, and then some living in super upscale. It's the same situation, just different time. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, and some of y'all might not like it, but it's a hard truth. When you have to get up and go to somebody's job and clock in, clock out, that's your master. It- you okay? If anybody who has disagreed with me, can you tell them what time you going on a break? No. Can you tell them when you got to get permission on? Hey, I need these days off, boss. Can I have it? Anybody else got these days? Huh? Right? And we live like that's normal, like it's regular, like that's okay. God didn't say that in Genesis. He said, "Have dominion over all things." How do you have dominion over all things? And you got to ask a man when you could take your family on vacation. When you got to ask a man to pay you more money to buy a nicer house for your family. Ask this same guy so I could buy better groceries. Salaries ain't going up, but the groceries is high as hell. I spent $150 and I got a handful of stuff. Like what? I need to go and start tilling some land because this is crazy. And they charge you all that money to poison you. That's crazy. That's the worst part about it. It ain't even good food you buying. Right? So for the one who was a slave when called to faith in the Lord is the Lord's freed person. Similarly, the one who was free when called is Christ's slave. You were bought at a price. Do not become slaves of human beings. The scripture told y'all that. Look, it said it right there. Don't be nobody's slave. Brothers and sisters, each person that's responsible to God should remain in a situation that they were in when God called them. What situation was you in when you was called? When you was born, let's put it like that. You was free. You didn't have any idea what debt was, that you have to grow up and want to be a fireman, policeman, and all that craziness that they get you put in your head. You just wanted to be free. It was the adults who came in and said, this is what it is to be responsible. This is the yeah, you gotta go get this education and get a good job so you can collect your 401k. Y'all know that's a scam, the 401k, right? Because they done spent all that money. Why you think they having all these fires? They want to look at Israel and what's going on. They trying to figure out because a lot of people are retiring, and they're gonna want that money. That means there's gonna be a huge run on the bank at one point. So what they do? Create a pandemic, get everybody to take them shots. And we got to mitigate our losses.
You can't control the money in your 401k plan.
No.
The only thing you can do is take from it, which they'll take from you if you take from it. If you ever try to go into your 401k, like let's say buy Bitcoin, they're gonna say you can't do it. They're gonna say you need a private account.
Because it ain't your money.
Exactly.
Once you give it to them, it's theirs.
Account in order to move this money from your 401k to Bitcoin. And it takes all the money. You can't control it once it's
Then if you take it out early, they're gonna penalize it. They did a study of the 401k system, and they looked at the gains and the losses over the years. They said over a lifetime of the gains and losses, you pretty much get in what you put in it back. It's really no real gains because the market shrinks, it expands, and over that time, it's pretty much giving you maybe a little bit extra. So what it's saying is, don't put all your money in 401k. You need to diversify that money, put it in different places. Because if we have an economy collapse, that's one of the biggest things that's gone. You ain't okay. I had this money, but then the fraud that goes along with 401ks, because it's up to the manage. They give that money over to a management company to manage the funds, and if they pick the wrong scheme, you stuck. Yeah. Always conduct. So we talk about status and correcting status and how you should look. Don't One thing you want to correct status is who you working for. That's why I showed that last stage slide. Who do you work for? You work for man or you work for God? You was put here to work for God. Some of y'all think y'all don't have, or y'all might think that working for God is being part of a church or being in someone else's church, but everyone in here is their own church. Everyone in here got their own mission that they need to share with the world. I don't care what you've been through, but that thing you've been through is what can help somebody else. All right. So if you had a hard life, that hard life is supposed to teach someone else. It ain't for you. You went through it, someone else can learn from it. What did Christ do? He went through the hardest thing that a man could go through. Help people. And then get persecuted for it. And then got put to death for it. Right? How many people can do that? Shoot, somebody look at us wrong, we ready to flip, right? Now this man healed people, and the same people he healed was the same people that asked to put him to death. Let's not get it twisted. The same people that he fed and helped is the same people that went up against him. And they even asked for a thief over him. Someone who was already up there before, who was already convicted before he got there. And he did nothing but try to help. So,
that's really true right there.
huh?
What's on the board? Conducting business according to your religion.
Yes. But groups of people are already doing it. You see it every day when you watch movies and stuff like that. The Jewish community own most of your media companies, just about all of it, right? But you never hear them talk about paying taxes or any other problems. How many? You don't hear too many of them going through these divorces or anything like that.
You see them in court.
Right, because they have their own courts. They do everything according to their religion, and that's why they one of the most successful communities out there. Don't hate them, learn from them.
Can I give a testimony, Akiem?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I was I've been dealing with Akiem for a long time since he was with Joan and all that stuff. So I've been doing correcting status and all that other stuff, right? So I didn't understand some things. So I didn't have my car registered, right? I didn't have my license plate. So I was driving through town and he pulled me over. I don't have a driver's license and none of that stuff. So got a passport card. Right? They pulled me over. To make a long story short, they ended up towing the car. Right? But the guy asked me, he said, "Where you work?" I said, "Well, I'm a missionary." I said, "I work for God." No license, no registration. They took the car. I didn't have to get the car back the next day. Right? But anybody knows if you don't have no license, no registration, you going to jail. Then not only did they not lock me up, took me home. Once I told them, this is God's honest truth. Once I told him I work for God, he said, "Who's your boss?" I said, "God's my boss." He said, "You just said you work in the deli because I own the store." I said, "Yeah, the deli needs help. I'm a missionary. I help." He took me home, 2 blocks from my house. He didn't take me directly to my house. I was 10 miles from my house, 3 o'clock in the morning. They took my car. They took my car. Then he put me. He said, "Well, you could take an Uber or something." I said, "No, I'm not taking no Uber. I got no money. You left me out here." He said, "I'll bring you home right now." He brought me home.
See?
That's a fact.
So I'm glad he mentioned that because I was talking and I wanted to remind myself to talk about it, but he reminded me. When Al gave y'all the definition of person, they gave every entity in the under the book except for one entity: church, temple, synagogue, or mosque. That's not a person in the eyes of the law. They can't define that because that's above their pay grade. That's above them. So they can't define and say this person is bound by these rules. So when I tell y'all to set these things up, I'm taking you outside of their jurisdiction, which is there's only way you can get in their jurisdiction is if, with your church is if you fill out that 501c3. That's how they had to bring the religious organizations. They were losing, they weren't getting billions of dollars a year. It's like all these churches getting all this money. How do we get this money? So said we'll get them. We won't get them now. We'll get them later. But tell them we want to get them recognized as tax exempt. They get on this little list, and people can see this. And this is what I started. That's why I started off the way I started with the George Floyd. How you see things, how they want you to see things, is not the truth. See, everybody in their mind says, "I need a 501c3 to be tax exempt." That's the thinking. Not churches. They don't need it. And I'm gonna read later and show you that it says specifically they don't need it. It's not necessary. But some do it so they can be recognized. But most doing it to be recognized, thinking that they have to do that. A lot of the stuff y'all doing right now, y'all don't have to do. You have a job?
Nope. I quit my job.
You quit? Give her a hand. Huh? Huh? Whenever you think, "I need that," it's always a struggle to go get the need. But with the wants, there's no struggle there. It's work, yes. Because what you'll do is you'll become singular in your mindset and you'll get rid of a lot of stuff just to get that one. Trust me. Testing. All right, now it's working. I tell you, change anything, but it'll flip around. Is my sound good? I don't want to be talking and nobody can hear what I have to say. Somebody give me a yes, text me. I know some of y'all got my number. Y'all could just text me and say yes. You hear me? Or put it in the chat. Now in the chat, if you say it in the chat, it's gonna yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you, Luke and Apple, and above and beyond with Karen is once again, Corinne is going to be a mother shortly of a little girl. I just want to say congratulations. That is so wonderful. You know, newborns, babies. Oh, thanks, Greg Johnson. I've had mine. My baby is about to graduate. She's 18. I was actually talking to someone today, and when I met them, their children were like 2, 3, and now the children are 9 and 7. It's just they grow up so fast. They grow up fast. So enjoy when they're little. Enjoy that little time playing those little games, because you're only going to get one opportunity. And that's while they're young. After that, they'll be adults and want to do their own thing eventually. Shoot, they want to, when they get 2 years old, they'll be wanting to do their own thing. So, again, Steve and Karen, congratulations to you guys. I'm really happy for you. I played that that seminar. I think that was over a year ago. I haven't done it. Do I realize I didn't do a seminar all year? I guess I'm gonna let 2024 go without a seminar. I guess not 2025. Um, I did the webinar yesterday on how to put the house in a trust. It went off. It did well. I thank everyone that attended and supported. Your support continues to help me manage and fund this ministry. I really appreciate you guys. And I mentioned on Sunday, well, before I go into that, so you can go online, akimel.com, and you can purchase it for a limited time. It's $147. If you didn't get on last night, it's $147 for that webinar if you're not one of my members, if you're not in the premium membership group. 147 for the next few days. After that, it's going up to 199. It's going to go up. Also, premium members, if you didn't get a chance to get on it last night, I still have the link in the chat. You can go purchase it for $97. And you will get the template, trust template, a very detailed trust template, the deed on how to transfer things. And you will also get what else is it? The letter that you would send your mortgage. So if you have a mortgage and you need to get them to, let them know that you're transferring the trust, there's a letter that goes with it, plus the webinar slides that go with that. And the video, of course, the recording. I believe I did a great job because there wasn't a whole lot of questions. Sometimes I get a little worried, like nobody's asking questions. And then I got to remember, I do try to cover everything so we can alleviate the questions. I try to anticipate questions in my teachings, and then I teach it. Oh, above, Corinne says, she will listen to Reverend Ike every day. Yes, man, if you do that, I'm sure you will do it. That child is going to be phenomenal. Children learn while they're in the womb. They learn. So she's starting off good. See, she already started off good. So, and this is a smart one. You know, the children pick the parents. The parents don't pick the children. The children pick who they want to come into this world with. That's more my esoterical, high level teachings. Children decide. That's who my parents going to be, because they got a specific purpose in mind, and they got to pick the right two people to come through. That's why It's the children that teach you. Children teach you how to be good adults. But a lot of times, this society has messed our head up. Keep the kids quiet and all. No, man, you will learn a lot by watching your children. A lot. It took me a while to figure that out, but then I just started paying attention, just really observing. Children will teach you a whole lot because they're so close to perfection when they're young. The innocence, that's perfection. Mhm. So, yeah, so tonight I have it scheduled for 9 o'clock to go over this issue that I've been having with um a former colleague of mine, former colleague. I don't even know if I want to use that word, but someone I used to work with is selling my IRS webinar recruitment process. No one's ever talked about recruitment process until I came along and said it. Like everybody was confused. I had to get people used to that term. And then they will sell 2 videos of it, of the recruitment process. So I'm asking the spirit, what should I say next? What should I say next? So if you're really paying attention and you have an ear to listen, if someone that I used to work with is selling my stuff, and they were in the business way before it was in this world, this field of this whole field way before I even thought about this. I had no idea about any of this information. I was kind of thrown into it because, when I started Hindsight Radio, my whole thing was about what I talk about now, consciousness. The original thought of Hindsight Radio was to give my perspective on what I believe people should understand about God based on books I've been reading and all of my studies. That's what I wanted it to be. That's all I wanted to talk about. I didn't want to talk about discharge. I didn't want to talk about birth certificates. I had no idea. That wasn't in my consciousness. When I got the inspiration to start Hindsight Radio, it was late one night, and I listened to someone had a blog talk station. They had this blog talk station, and it was like they would their blog talk was about relationships and stuff like that. And someone from my job introduced me to the show, and they were going back and forth about men and women relationships, and it was decent. And I said, man, people on here just got creating platforms. Um, and so I said, I'm gonna start my station. I named it Hindsight Radio, and then I just let it sit there. That I paid for that literally for like 2 years. I think it was like 2012 when I first started it, and then I went where I get my tonics from, Solomon's Temple. Someone handed me a DVD, and there was this guy on it. Then I ended, long story short, I ended up working with him, and um, we didn't work together anymore. And then after that, because we didn't work together, they went on a campaign to destroy my name, literally like destroyed. Said all kind of nonsense, and you know, just and at the time, this is why I tell y'all. If you're going through something with someone, especially if it's someone close, or someone you consider a friend, or at least someone you're working with, and you're going through something, in that moment, it can feel like you've been betrayed. And you may have been betrayed. But that situation is really preparing you for something else. Now, how you choose to react in those situations is going to determine your success in what you're being prepared for. So I could tell y'all, man, when it was going on, I said I couldn't believe the lies that was being told. I've never had anybody talk about me that bad or say the things that bad about me, especially somebody that I respected and thought even though we had fell out and had a disagreement, you fall out and you have disagreements with everybody, even your own mama. You fall out. I fell out with my father, my brothers, all of us, but we all come. There's a point you get to with your peoples that you won't go past. You won't go out and maliciously try to destroy them. But they went out on a malicious attempt, and I felt victimized at the moment, and then I felt like, yo, this was undeserved. So, and I wanted to retaliate so bad. I mean, y'all, the Akeem, y'all know this radio way I behave. That's one me. But there is a me out there that could go nuclear. And I have gone nuclear in my younger days. That can get off the chain like 3 foot balls, really go in. But every time I wanted to do that, it was like something had a chain on me, like on my tongue, like every time there was many. I know some of y'all who know me for a long time, and I was doing shows, and I started to talk, and I started to go in, and then I would restrain myself and move on. And so when I got this information the other day, when I got the information from those of you who didn't know the story, why I'm talking about this now is someone sent me an email asking for some free notices that I gave with my IRS webinar. The moment he asked me those questions, I already knew that they didn't buy it from me. But, I have to be the customer service person and be professional and say, okay, send me your receipt and then I'll get you what you need. Sends me a receipt. It's not my receipt. It's his receipt. The other guy's receipt with all of the items he's bought and stuff like that. And I said to the guy, I said, oh, how are you going to ask me for something free and you didn't even buy this from me? You coming to me. And what's so crazy, they're selling it with me teaching it. They ain't even go and try to look at the video and then create their own webinar and teach it themselves. They got me teaching it. And so I said, shaking my head. So I when I saw the email, I was like, you know how you wake up, you look at your phone and you see these emails. I saw that. And I responded. And then when he sent the receipt, which came like early in the morning, and it was at my reflection time. Like right now, I've been deliberately from around 5 a.m. to 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. I try to start my day off thinking about positive things, reflecting on how I want the day to look, and be honest, sometimes that's very hard to do because there's so much going on. It's kind of hard to stay focused on those intentions. But this time I was in that real focus mode, and then I laid back and I said, I've held my tongue for a long time. I didn't say anything about it. I didn't go in and all that. So I said, it's time to tell the story. It's time to tell from A to Z, tell what happened. Because a lot of y'all been waiting to know what happened. Like where did it all go wrong? Because we had a strong radio station. We had a strong following, and people were dropping like flies. Every year we would lose somebody. Now, by coincidence, well, I wouldn't even say coincidence. Every time I do a money ritual, I told you guys, whenever I do a ritual, when I do that yearly ritual, I always ask for these things. These two things are a requirement for me. In the incoming year, remove anyone that's in my way that can keep me from fulfilling my purpose and show me the truth of everything that's happening in my life. So people would when every and like clockwork, people things would show up and people fell off. Truth was revealed. So when all of these things transpired, I couldn't be upset about it because I asked for the truth, right? And I got it. That's what I'm saying. Be careful. If you want the truth, if you really want the truth, be ready for whatever that is. Because a lot of times that truth that you get is not something you really was fully prepared for, but you asked for it. And that happened because, when we started working together, that was like shortly right after the new year. That was it. So tonight at 9 o'clock on Telegram, I'm going through the whole story, A to Z. I'm not holding back now. And I'm not doing it in a way of revenge or anything. It's just basically to clear the record. So, hey, the story is time for the story to tell. The Spirit said, tell it now. This is the time. This is the perfect opportunity. First of all, I said this on Sunday. 2028 is an 8 year. That's the year of karma. What goes against infinite comes back to you. It's year of a lot of people being exposed. So it's just time for me to put the whole thing right there on the line, and I got receipts. That's the great thing. I got my receipts. One thing, y'all, I would like to encourage people to do when you're dealing with people, just make them show you receipts. Ask them. See, they do very good jobs of talking. There's a lot of people with the gift of gab, and they can talk you into anything. But if you step back off the words and look at the actions and look at results, that's what tells the story. See, a person can, even in a relationship, a person can tell you they love you all day long. I love you, blah, 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 blah. But when you turn your back, what are they really doing? See, words are good to hear. It's good for someone to acknowledge. But the best reward is the action. That's the best reward you're going to get. See, the world is filled with people who love getting their ears tickled. Pleasant words with evil intent. Slick, charismatic words. But what's behind the words? What's behind it? That's what you pay attention to. See, we can't get disillusioned, illusioned, and faked out by what's in front, what is coming out of the person's mouth. Duck that and actually pay attention to actions. I see it all the time. People talk to me and they really think that they're getting away with their words. And I just putting it out there. I'm very, very good at just playing that possum role. Okay. Because sometimes it's just not worth challenging people. If there's no profit at the end of it, why challenge it? If it's only going to cause me to argue with this person, why even challenge it? But Everyone listening to me, everyone in this world has special gifts. My what I do and what I how I see things it may seem like I do special stuff, but it's not special. It's just that I know and practice certain techniques to make myself be who I am. Most people won't practice listening. Y'all know if y'all just listen to the tone of a person's voice, just the tone, just their tone, just how their tone. Pay attention to different highs and lows of things. You could tell if the person is being genuine or not. You can do that. Where they move their head, where they move about. And plus, listen, God built y'all with instincts that y'all pick up on these things fast. But what we do is we let society make us think we don't have powers and we just ignore it. And women especially emotional as they could pick stuff out of the air through their emotions. But because it's not trained and taught to them how to handle those emotions and how to use those emotions to manipulate their environment. Although, yeah, their emotions are manipulating environments, they just not trained in how to do it where it can prevent, I mean, could get them positive results. We are manipulating our environments all over the place. See, God came with an idea, right, of creation of the world. But to move it fast forward to God and Mary, God said to Mary, "You're going to have a boy, name him Emmanuel. He's going to be the savior of his people." He came with the idea, but he planted that seed in the woman, that idea in the woman, and the woman took that idea, believed in what God said, and she took it on and she accepted that responsibility and brought in the Christ consciousness right into the world. So if you really pay attention to that dynamic, that's why a man and a woman is needed. That's why they need to be partners. Because the architect was who? God. And he said, here's my design. Boom, here. Now you multiply that, make that grow into the Messiah that he will be. And how does a woman make that? Through her emotions, through her emotional well-being. That's why the whole surroundings of a woman during a pregnancy has to be good, because her well-being is going to be directly affect this child. You know, Joseph was about to be out. He said, "Man, my kid, I'm out of here." Did God say, "Hold up. No, 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 no. You're going to stick around because this baby is different. Stick around." And Joseph stuck around. So if you want to put it in today's term, Joseph was the was a stepdad. I know I'm making jokes, but um, just imagine that. Just think about that. You Joseph, and just think about that. You're Joseph, and your wife's having God's kid, child, and you got to keep it a secret, and that's not your kid, and all that stuff, and this kid come out doing miracles and all this. You know how strong Joseph had to be to endure that, just to deal with that. When you really when you really slice these stories down and you really look at some of the things in the Bible. I know I'm just ranting right now. Um, See what y'all saying. Enzliga says picking your parents correct. Watch the movie Soul. Yes. And then Jessica Allen said the students surpass the teacher. Absolutely. Well, I wouldn't even. I'm gonna be like this. If y'all on there at 9 o'clock, you'll understand. Teacher may not be the proper term. You know, might not be the top term. I will say this. I would say, yeah, teacher in regards, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even be doing this because I didn't plan on talking about these things. I wasn't planning on it. That wasn't my plan. That was a father's thing from my mind was to talk about biblical things. That was what God had for me, and he still had it for me. He just used that avenue, that short space of time to put me out there. I had to go through that, I guess, the wilderness to get to where I am now. And that's usually how things go. I talked about this on Sunday. Joseph, what he got thrown in the ditch, end up being a slave in someone's house. Then he got accused of sexual harassment by Jezebel, by someone's wife or whoever, and got thrown in prison. If that ain't the wilderness, and then he was second in command of all of Egypt. You see, by remaining faithful to the Christ consciousness. See, if you remain faithful, if you transcend your tough situations, it will pay off. See, the wicked ones, they get their pay instantly. Short burst of entertainment or payoff, short bursts. But people who remain faithful, they get it. Their reward remains forever. What time is it? 8:06. Uh, Indy Circus said he's a different man. Yeah, just think about that. Like Joseph being the father, the stepfather, and technically to this immaculate, or what do they call it, this miracle birth, and he's the father. And this kid got his dad is God Almighty. Sometimes I wonder, why don't they talk about that early years of Christ? Why didn't they make that public? Because there's books out there that discuss his life as a child. There are some books they took out that um have those details. I mean, there's actually books out there that have the details of Adam and Eve once they got kicked out of the garden. They kept trying to get in. Yeah. They got out and they tried to get back in. God said, nah, you can't get in here. Hmm. And in some of the texts that I read, these books are hard to find too. I have to go dig them back up. Some of the texts I read on the whole Adam and Eve story, I mean, they went through the story from A to Z. Like after they got kicked out, what the life was like and the births, all of that. They went through all of that. And not only were they, according to these books, I'm not saying these are facts, they not only got kicked out of the garden, but they was also sentenced to not to die right away. So they have instances where life was so hard they tried to kill themselves and they couldn't. They had to live out their punishment. Basically, long story short, when they on in that book, it was they had to live out the lesson of what they had, where they went wrong. They had to live that out. They had a set time. But I gotta find that book. I read this is when I was just binge reading a lot of different information about biblical texts, and I just came across all kinds of things. Like I came across the book about Jesus' early life and how other kids made fun of him and how what he did. You see? That's I ain't even gonna put that up there. Um, Falconer said, "God's grace is sufficient and peace that surpasses all overstanding." Somebody, this is what they said. I'm not gonna repeat that. Um. So anyway, it's 8:09, 9 o'clock. Let me put the link to the Telegram if y'all gonna get on and listen to this. I ain't gonna keep y'all up all night either. I'm just gonna run through it fast as I can. How do I need to set up the time? Uh, mm, share link. Copy. The link's in the chat. That's the Telegram. There's got to be another link that they got it. Y'all should go back to this because I've uploaded some files in here for y'all to download. Yeah. All right. I'm trying to find it. I hope that link. I don't think that link is gonna take y'all to where y'all need to go. The one I just gave y'all. Let's see. Oh, that's not the time I want to skip. Let me edit this. I'm trying to get y'all a link to that'll work. What did I do here? Did something. I set it up for 10, but trying to correct the time. All right, let's do that again. Schedule 421. There we go. There it is. I got it working that time. All right, I ain't got no more to say. I'm, tr- I'm trying to get y'all the correct link, but for some reason I really don't remember. It's a certain way to get this link. For some reason, I never could remember it. Okay, yeah, I just corrected it, Corinne. I just corrected the time. Um, but I'm trying to get y'all the right link, and for some reason, it's not playing. All right, here it is. Oh, there it is. Found it. I found it. There we go. This should be the. Yeah, I know. It's not there. This is the link. This is the actual link here. There it is. Found it. I also sent the email out yesterday. But if you guys want, the webinar just yesterday for a limited time, I'm keeping it up there for 147. Then it's going to go up to 199. Period. For the next few days. So if you want it, you missed it, was not able to um get on yesterday because I broke down how to put the house in the trust. I even created a template to show you how to style the deed, how to also what letter you send to the mortgage company. The reason why I did this because for some reason this over the last few weeks I've been getting a rash of calls about how to do this. I said, let me just do a webinar on it. Now I have someone that will gladly do all of the deed paperwork for you for a fee if that's what you want and you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself. But I always like to teach you guys how to do things for yourself before you have to pay for it. So take your time, look at the video. You're gonna learn something. I actually go over the laws that say you can do it. What trust that needs to be set up to do it. So I think for 147, considering what an attorney would charge you, plus I gave you a detailed sample trust to go with it. And it's not even the trust that when I set up trust, that's not even the trust that I normally use to set up trust. But this one was specifically designed for property transfer. All right. So I'm gonna get off here. 8:16. I'm gonna get off here. I done been talking and been chatting about old times. Um and I'll get to go over everything because what I need to do is compile some of this old material to be as a part of this conversation I'm gonna have with you guys. So I'd appreciate it if you join me on Telegram 9 o'clock. I don't think it's gonna take 30 minutes for me to run through all of this. All right. So, with that being said, oh yeah, the New Year's ritual. I did actually the link for the New Year's ritual is in the Telegram channel chat as well. What I'll do is I'll put it in there again. Let me get there. New Year's Eve. What y'all doing for New Year's Eve? Y'all partying? What y'all gonna do? I know what I'm doing. What I do every year. Um, I'm gonna put it in the Telegram chat. I'm not gonna put it in the YouTube chat because it won't take it all. Telegram chat. So I'll see you guys. Oh, question. Those of you who was on the webinar, Corinne, did you guys get that WeTransfer link? Because I'm looking at it. I thought I sent it out, but it seems like it didn't go out. Did y'all get your Telegram recording? Duran, who else was there? I know Indie Circle wasn't there. Sea King Bay, did you get it? Son of the One True King, did you get it? DJ B Thunder, did you get your link? I know I put it in there last night, hit transfer, and I'm looking at it right now like it didn't even go through. Let me see. 'Cause I know, you know what? It may not have went through because nobody downloaded it. Not yet. So it didn't go. I, mean, I know I hit transfer. I put everybody on the email list. I'm gonna do it now. Wonder why it didn't go through. It's coming through now. I hit the transfer button and walked out of the room. Oh, it says something went wrong. Okay, I'm gonna get that to y'all. So let me get off here so I can take care of that. Yeah, I had sent it out last night. That's telling me something went wrong. So let me go get it and get that done. So with that being said, I'm gonna shut it down. I'll see you guys on Telegram. Peace. Yeah, so I think the 24th we're gonna go visit Portugal. Read that scripture and that kind of like, how would he curse a tree that wasn't bearing fruit, but it wasn't supposed to be bearing fruit? Now, when I heard Reverend Ike preach on it, he said, well, you know, anything that doesn't produces any fruit, what's the so many people see success in other people's and they want that success, but they don't want to break old habits. You'll never have success that way. If you're going to stay the same person that don't have success now, you're not going to get success being that same person. You're not going to get the success hanging out. If you want to remove negative people, you stay positive. When they say something negative, you say something positive. You keep staying positive, guess what? They gonna walk away. They gonna leave. Then if you have control over your environment, like in your house, and you put nothing but positive, negative stuff, they gonna walk away. I don't know. I don't know if this is a husband, boyfriend you're talking about. Maybe some people, you say people, you just stay positive. They say something negative and you meet it with a positive word. But let me be clear. If you got negative people in your life giving you negative vibes, saying negative things, then first you must check yourself and see what you saying to yourself that's negative, that these people are manifesting to you negative words.